There is one guy that deserves some praise in the aftermath, not just of last night's game, but what we've seen from him all year, because he was forgotten. He was discarded.
Man, yeah.
He was on the market for a long time. He ended up taking a bargain basement deal because nobody wanted him. James Conner, the former Pitt running back, the cancer survivor. It was a great story when he came to Pittsburgh. It made sense. But they just decided after 4 years they were done with James Conner. And I think everybody else followed the lead. Look at that catch.
What a catch.
He's got like 5 one-handed catches this year. He had 94 receiving yards last night, 2 touchdowns. He scored a touchdown in 7 straight games. They have found a way to unleash skills that we didn't know this guy had because, again, he never got a chance to flourish and develop and grow in the Pittsburgh offense. You put him in a more dynamic offense, and all of a sudden he's a superstar.
Yeah, that's right. They were, Pittsburgh was a little offensively challenged the last few years. You're right. They couldn't find ways to get him the ball or utilize him to the full capacity like we're talking about. And he's just got no weakness to his game. I mean, it's an amazing story. It really is. He's easy to root for. I met James Conner once in my life, and he's one of those guys where niceness just falls off of him. He looks at you, and you go, the guy's a nice guy. Hasn't said a word. You can see it in his eyes. So he's easy to root for that way. And, man, I mean, just does it all. Like, say, there's no situation during the game where he really has to come off the field. Running routes, great. He's covered. Whoa, he's got great hands. We could throw back shoulders. He'll catch the ball one-handed, blah, blah, blah. Picking up the blitz, does that. Can run between the tackles for power, can make people miss in space. Yeah, he doesn't have, like, home run hitting speed. He's not going to break 70-yard touchdowns. But other than that, there's nothing not to like about James Conner's game. And, what a job he's done with Chase Edmonds being hurt. And, he was a big reason, they mounted a comeback. And it was because of James Conner to a degree and Kyler Murray and company. And, hey, even with all that and some of the mistakes Arizona made last night, there they were down 2 touchdowns and on the 7-yard line. And DeAndre Hopkins dropped a slant route right on 4th and 2 where you'd go, DeAndre Hopkins catches that ball 999 times out of 1,000. He dropped it. And of course that was one of the first nails in the coffin maybe for them to actually win the game. Big moment right there. But man, sorry to change the subject, but James Conner was amazing.
And then it pops up, and Christian Kirk almost had it. It hit the ground, but that would have been something if it pinballs its way through to Kirk and he rolls into the end zone off of that. And that would have changed the complexion of the whole game. One last thing on Conner.
Yeah,
he's got 16 touchdowns so far this season, tied for third in the NFL, or third in the NFL, excuse me. And he had 2 last night. His total compensation package this year, 1.75.
Wow.
So he's delivered. He's going to deliver more than 17 touchdowns for 1.75. That's a pretty good investment by the Arizona Cardinals, and it just shows you that. This is the flip side of the idea that there are so many running backs out there who can get the job done. So, but the problem is every once in a while there's going to be a guy who really can get the job done who gets thrown into the mix with all the others that are just kind of churning out basic meat and potatoes. And again, this is kind of the DK Metcalf conversation again, because did the Steelers really know what they had? Now, he got injured a lot in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But maybe this is a guy who just didn't quite fit what the Steelers were willing to do offensively, and not your classic between the tackles runner.
That's right.
And maybe he just needed to be in a different spot. And look at how it's worked out for the Cardinals. And shame on everyone else out there who didn't realize that there was a gem that was just hiding in plain sight that nobody wanted.
Yeah, it is. But we see this story, right? Every year there's a handful of guys where they get to a new team and we go, wow, whoa, I didn't realize he's this good, because he finally gets in the right situation that understands how to utilize his talent. There's some other talent around him that, allows himself to shine. Not everything's on him. Pittsburgh's, offense has been tough there the last few years, let alone, like you said, they've been injured. So the game didn't lend itself to his type of play. But he certainly has a role. And, this is the flip side of where you watch a guy and you go, man, this is where I feel bad about the running backs again. He's great, unbelievable production, puts his body on the line, he's getting screwed over, he's making $1.7 million. I mean, and he's playing like, one of the top 10 backs in football this year. And that's where it's a tough story at that running back position. But he's in a spot now that, is just perfect for him. And he can do everything within that offense, and he knows how to deliver within it. And it's cool to see. It really is.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.